I really like the beginning where we just all kind of got together and everyone was just saying hi, and then you sort of have this sense of purpose, like people kind of come together and you know that something interesting is going to happen a bit later. I thought the film was great, but for me, I wasn't so interested in the consumer side of life, but more the other questions that he poses. So, for example, our conversation started with soup. What makes work boring and what makes it worthwhile, and then it soon veered quite far from that into what we think work will be like in the future, and because in the film that they discussed sort of factory work lifestyles compared with modern work lifestyles, and we think it'll even go further than that, where say for example you had lots of technology, then everybody has the potential to become an artist or to be use the term artist to mean fully self-expressed. So you won't have people who have work that's boring, you'll just have people who are bored for certain periods, but then in other periods of their life they are more able and capable to kind of excite themselves, be interesting, be interested, and kind of fully self-express themselves. My name is Natalie Wills and I am a freelance project manager for cultural events.
Maybe the Americans feel more comfortable to express their subconscious interactions or their non-verbal communication verbally, so it's pushing them out of this ease. Because they know people can read them, so they have to say something.
I love the theory, and it's all about trying to get human understanding of needless to say, there's such growth in human rights. I did that research I just decided that my generation, I've seen my generation.
That's not a bit free.
So I decided to leave it.
Oh, we just halfway through. We just talked for an hour. So I had mixed feelings with the movie, but I think I think it keeps the stone rolling, you know. No, I basically liked a lot of the ideas behind it. I always get paranoia when it gets too educational, let's say. But besides that, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I did disagree with some things he was saying, and then it kind of led us on to these other great tangents where we just sort of challenged each other and go, no, that's not right.
Well, we're still looking for the big dissents. We're more agreeing than arguing at the moment. My name is Kasper, and I'm a former shoe designer, but I just quit my job basically because I don't believe anymore in this traditional idea of work. So yeah, I'm basically looking at the moment at strategies where I just do what I want basically. If I can make money with it or not, it's not the point. It's just, you know, like I try to find a different, like basically an alternative.
So, where have you got with that? I mean, what is it? Are you still within the within shoes,
no, like I have fashion fatigue. I can't do it anymore.
So what are you doing with yourself then at the moment, or how you...
At the moment, I'm just about to start building a maze in my gallery, and the next thing is I want to build a sauna to have it always hot. And invites lots of people.
But it's funny because we were talking about how, let's say in the future everyone's going to be an artist. We're also saying that if you're too aware that you're an artist, then it becomes something different altogether, a bit like Cinedope New York, where there's so much self-awareness that you can't call yourself an artist. It kind of transcends art and becomes just, you constantly live live like this somehow, and you don't even have to be aware of it. So for example, like I'm a feminist, but I don't wake up every morning and say I'm a feminist. I just work and I'm an educated, empowered woman. So it just becomes a natural part of who I am, not something that you're aware that you're trying to do. So you're going to build a maze, and it's not like you've said I'm an artist. It's just something you're doing as a way of
for sure,
just living and expressing yourself.
But actually, like now, like where you're saying it, like maybe we, without knowing it, getting like as in that movie, like part of an art performance where we think we are like in charge, but actually we are like in somebody else's art performance and not aware of it.
Maybe you're in mine. I don't know.
Mom.
But I suppose that with what you're trying to pursue at the moment, I mean, obviously to be boring, this issue of how someone earns a living, but are you able to do that with your projects, this new way of...
Well, sometimes it's tough, but like it's for me it's most of the time very fulfilling, and it's like self-responsibility to a point, you know, like if nobody tells you what to do, that can sometimes, you know, like be a bit too much, you know, like because like everybody's really used, including me, to getting told what to do. So if you're not in that position anymore, you have to relearn things, or like
Right. You can survive in this mode.
Oh yeah, I survive, more than survive, I can live in that mode.
I mean, this idea that intelligence was actually design. Intelligence isn't just in your brain.
Oh, it was really great. It was amazing, actually. I really enjoyed it. But it's mainly the opportunity to have one-to-one. That's not necessarily that we were talking about what we saw in the film.
I'd have to say
we have a great conversation.
The starter question was brilliant, and then we just kind of... we just kind of moved on from there and just kind of let the conversation flow.
Not very disciplined.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. But it was great. It was great fun. Really enjoyed it. You know.
Yeah, I did. This is what I call good conversation.
Yeah.
Things
so what were you talking about mostly?
Life,
universe, and everything.
So just about a lot of it. I mean, basically, I think I want to sort out life. I do seem to have sorted out life, so it's kind of grabbing some tips is quite important.
We talked about computer programming and...
Well, I have a slightly more empirical approach to thinking about things, where I think I studied artificial intelligence, so for me philosophy is actually it's almost quite an empirical science. I want to make the brain to see how it does respond to things, while
to me, philosophy is good thinking.
Yeah,
it's not academic theorizing, but actually knowing the difference between an orange and fruit.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, often you feel that people can't make the difference between an ordinate concept and a subordinate or superordinate concept. Because it's not as simple as seeing the difference between orange and a fruit, collective noun and the specific. When it comes to concepts, it's not easy to see, but one can learn it, and that's what philosophy is about. Yeah, my name is János Abel. I came from Hungary, but I live in London.
And what's your occupation?
I put here self-taught philosopher.
Right. Fair enough.
Philosophy actually determines how you live. What you believe drives what you do.
And I'm Anthony McHale. I'm a computer programmer / self-employed discipline type person. So I'm a walking cliche. I'm an IT consultant. So there you go.
Okay, hello. My name is Jessica. I make puppets for children's theatre, and I really enjoyed the event because it gave everyone who hardly anyone knows each other. Most people just know themselves, if that, and it gave us something to talk about rather than just stepping into a conversation with someone that you don't know and mentioning that it's snowing outside or something. So it's a really, really, really positive thing, and I think it's very good. Yes.
Okay, I'm David, and actually in the moment I haven't got an occupation, but I want to study, but I have no idea what. So yeah, I'm just thinking about and live for the moment. And I'm here actually because a friend of mine took me with him, and it was really nice to meet all these people and to see this movie and to think about the scene behind, and yeah.
Whatever it is, really much, really like get involved in it. Fernanda Munoz Newsom, dancer, choreographer.
And what did you make of the event?
Well, I was just saying, as I was saying before to you, that I felt that the menu was helpful for the first question, but as we had just watched the film beforehand, and all of those kind of questions were resonating anyway, that throughout the conversation I didn't want to refer back to the piece of paper. I can imagine actually now, having said that being able to relate back to a kind of structure, being the menu, might actually be really helpful if you feel at some point that conversation is kind of like going separate ways, or like something, or we'd meander away, but then something that we'd be talking about I would kind of relate back to in my mind to a question that I had, or a question from the film that I kind of remembered or felt necessary, like that I related to from before. So yeah, I think the film kind of was enough somehow. Ideal work is, it was funny because I was kind of answering it to myself while I was watching the film. My ideal work is to work with a group of people who are independently really passionate about making work with a particular group of people and that group of people happens to be the group that you're kind of working in, so everyone's passions are kind of united.
My name is Patricia, and I'm a filmmaker.
My name's Andy, and I run a social collaboration called Focalocal.
Hi, my name is Sana, and I'm a French teaching assistant in a high school. I think it's very weird to gather people to talk about such things, but I think it's also an amazing idea because that's a good start for society, to gather people who don't know each other and talk about subjects they will never talk about it if they met randomly. So I will come back.
I really enjoy hearing the way other people think about really kind of deep subjects that in general conversation you normally you talk about the weather or something like that. It feels like a much more honest conversation. It's really interesting to see how somebody else thinks and views those type of things. So I've really enjoyed it.
I think that for me it's incredible now in across the streets I find a place like that is a warehouse, but it's a place when people that doesn't know anything about each other, come here and start talking without any purpose. There's a purpose that see the film and talk about some question, but at the very beginning the only purpose is, okay, this is me, who are you, what are you doing, what are interesting, and this introduce for me is very interesting, have that conversation before all the video and before all that question, because you feel more at home, and then now you feel more comfortable to open to the others about that
right.
questions.
Okay.
Well, we followed the questions, but in the end, I think we related the questions a lot to our work experience. Like for example, Andy said he worked in 300 different jobs, and he used them a lot to answer the questions, and that was really interesting to connect it to real life experience.
I found it really interesting to hear how people value the way they work. Like what they take from work and what they get from work and what their kind of priorities and goals are in work, and kind of relate that to their priorities and goals in life. That's really lovely.
I think that maybe it's for me, okay, because it's not a long time that I'm here, and I'm really in each country is different, and maybe and I find that the relation from the other people with the job, that is important for the people. The job is all that life is only a part of their life. For example, the jobs are very different now from them. So for me it's try to understand what is the job and how many part of the time is included on her life.